Hi, everybody.
Hi, Tom.
I'm really glad you came tonight. Thanks for being here. As Liz pointed out, we panelists speak only for ourselves, and I have something extra to say in that regard. It's important to know that my location on the secular end of the spectrum reveals nothing about my employer, Yale Divinity School, which is and will remain a Christian divinity school. So it's important to know that. What I wish everybody knew about the Bible, especially unchurched people, is that there is something there even for the non-religious. I'm talking about wisdom, inspiration, stories that frame and address the challenges of life and our interactions with other people, teachings that illuminate a better way to live. When I say these things, I'm mainly thinking about the figure of Jesus and what we can learn from his example and teachings as they are depicted in the Bible. Because this is the Bible content that is most compelling to me, and I suspect most compelling to a lot of other non-religious people. I wouldn't say this is the only content in the Bible that is worth considering for the non-religious, far from it. But the stories about Jesus and the teachings of Jesus are probably the parts of the Bible most accessible and interesting to non-religious folks. What I'd like secular people to know is that this wisdom and inspiration are available to them. That's a statement that might surprise some people, maybe start an argument. Some would say that Jesus, like the New Testament as a whole, like the Bible as a whole, is only for religious believers, and that there's no point engaging with this material unless you're a believer. But I sense that among a fairly significant number of non-Christians, there's an openness to and an interest in Jesus that exceeds the interest they have in the religion that revolves around him, or in the book that tells his story. Sure, there are secular people, let's face it, who cringe if Jesus or the Bible is invoked in a conversation. This is because the Bible and Jesus are radioactive to them, probably because of some experiences they've had, the ways in which the Bible and Jesus are evoked in some political and cultural contexts. We all know about that. Nevertheless, I'm convinced that there are large numbers of secular people who find the figure of Jesus intriguing, at least benign, maybe even positive, maybe even inspiring like me, and who don't wholesale reject Jesus the way they might reject religion. Yes, secular people are going to do a considerable amount of picking and choosing if they engage with the Bible. They're going to read selectively if they read it at all. For instance, I doubt an atheist making his or her first visit to the Bible is going to start with the genealogies. And if they do, it might be the last time they visit the Bible, even though lots of us know that there is significance in those genealogies. But there are many stories and teachings that can resonate and can be helpful. The Bible gives an account of the why and the how of human existence. It's full of myth and metaphor that reflect the wisdom of the ages and address issues and crises happening here and now in individual lives and across society, across our nation. I think it would be a shame if this storehouse of wisdom, of timeless wisdom, were seen as off limits to non-believers. And it would be a double shame, in my view, if the Jesus part were seen as off limits and ignored by non-believers and left only to believers. There is a new book out that I want to tell you about, and I'm not talking about mine, although I do want to tell you about that too. Show them the book, Warren. This is a book by the longtime religion journalist Kenneth A. Briggs, whose title refers to the Bible as the, quote, invisible bestseller, and the subtitle says, Searching for the Bible in America. The key idea in this book by Kenneth A. Briggs is that the Bible is ubiquitous in American culture, yet, strangely enough, seldom read. He says even churches have reduced the importance of the Bible in their worship practices. This resonates with what we have all seen and heard about Americans' famed Bible illiteracy, such as the fact that only 4 in 10 of us can correctly name who it was who delivered the Sermon on the Mount. That's a true fact. And I mean a factual true fact. Here's something interesting that Briggs writes in the book, which really stuck with me, quote, fewer people are looking to the Bible for anything these days, end quote. And he adds something that's important and maybe puzzling. He says, quote, yet the figure of Jesus looms as large as ever in the public mind. Christianity is retaining a Christ-centeredness that is depending less on the Bible and more on a popularized version of Jesus as the world's greatest guy, end quote. So I have to admit that I'm guilty of this in my secular way with the work that I'm doing around this concept of being a secular Jesus follower and with this book that's coming out. So yes, I think Kenneth Briggs might be onto something when he talks about the emergence of a Bible-less Jesus, which is a strange and interesting concept. I say it's strange because without the Bible, there would be no Jesus for us to engage with today. Am I right about that? Right. So I'm not even sure how to square these things. I'm not going to try to answer that now. That's the thought I will leave you with as we move on to the next panelist.